Hello everyone and welcome back to A Wasteland Story. This is not a normal episode, this is a bonus episode that I'm putting together only partially to distract from the fact that I have not yet released the newest episode of the real show, Wasteland Story, episode number 6. It is coming, it's scripted, it's recorded, it's just going to take me a few more days to find the time to get in and mix that properly. However, in the meantime, what I wanted to do is just... I don't anticipate this will be a very long episode, but we'll just see. I was very kindly asked by one of the former guests that I had on the other show, a Solo Role Players podcast, Thomas from Board Games with Thomas, whose YouTube channel and his solo playthroughs of Fallout were really inspirational to help me figure out how to actually play and actually start getting playing. And so he very kindly recently reached out to me and asked if perhaps I wanted to come and play online with him playing Fallout using Mythic cooperatively, which is something I've never done before or really thought that it was something you could do. I guess if I had just thought about it, I would have realized that so. But he said he has some really great sessions just playing with a mate or a couple of mates and sort of taking it in terms to use Mythic to be the GM or, I'm not sure exactly how he does it. I'm going to see in a few days when we record this. So I thought I would use the opportunity now to create a character that is going to be really important in A Wasteland Story in the future. Specifically, Season 2 is likely going to start with this character. I don't want to give too much away about who they are or how they fit into the overall story, but it is a character I need to roll up anyway, and I thought I might as well take them for a test drive playing with Thomas in a few days to put on his channel. So I thought I'd just do a little bonus episode for those who are interested in how character creation works in Modiphius's Fallout 2D20, and maybe get a little bit of a sneak peek into who one of these characters is going to be. Now, I have a bit of an idea already about what sort of a person this is going to be, what this kind of background and skills is going to be like. But we'll go through the process, reading through the book. Now, one thing to note is that although I believe it's exactly the same as creating a character with the core rules, this character is going to come from the Wanderer's Guide, which is the, I believe, second guidebook released for Fallout. But you can use the same method to create a character just using the core game. Now, what I have in mind, and this was sort of inspired, perhaps unimaginatively, by also the character I had in my head already, but the image was inspired somewhat unimaginatively by the character on the cover of the book, who to me looks like a very old Snake, if anyone remembers Metal Gear, sort of a character. He's going to be a sort of rough, grizzled, older guy who's out there surviving in the wasteland for various reasons, which will become apparent later on in the show. So, let's have a look, let's find the page, and let's have a look at how character creation actually works. In this guidebook, they just have some extra origins, is what I meant to say earlier. So, the actual process is going to be taken from the core rule book, and then just using one of these backgrounds, I think they're called, origins of one of the characters in the guidebook. So the first thing you need to do, which is exactly the same as the Fallout video games if you ever played them back in the day, but you go through your special attributes. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on this, but just for an overview, special stands for strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. And those things are all pretty much used the same way that they would be in most RPGs. Luck is a little bit different. Luck gives you, up to your skill, a certain number of points that will allow you to spend to do things like reroll a dice, usually reroll a dice, but you can actually do things like add a helpful detail to a scene, like maybe you spend a luck point and say, and right there, through the window, I saw the key to the door, or whatever like that. You can use that in an interesting way. And luck is something that you spend and recover when the GM, or when you decide that is time to get some luck back. The other thing I believe you can do is you can spend luck to switch your luck stat. If you have a high luck stat, you can do a test that requires another stat and switch it to use the luck stat instead. So like you get particularly lucky in shooting even though your small gun skill isn't very good, or whatever that happens to be. So, importantly, I'm going to get a blank character sheet, and just a side note, I really love it when games come with quality blocks of character sheets. I don't know if they're called blocks in English, that's what they call them here in Germany. I can't remember. But like a stack of character sheets that are on good paper. I really like that. I miss it. When I print stuff out myself, I kind of feel like it's not as good somehow. So I got myself a blank character sheet. I'm not going to name them just yet. I have to think about that a little bit. It's going to have to be a code name of some kind. But we're just going to start going through and working it out. Step number 1 is choose your origin. Decide the origin of your character, and it determines their trait, as well as the equipment that they have, and how their basic abilities are going to impact their skills. This is where we flip over to the new book, because the origin of my character is going to be a Brotherhood outcast. Now, the Brotherhood outcasts, there's lots of great text here about who the Brotherhood are. I am not going to read that for you now. I recommend looking it up. It's pretty cool. But importantly, the Brotherhood initiates, or one of the Brotherhood origins in the core game, the specific trait is that they have the chain that binds. And that means that they are part of this faction for life, presumably, and they have a chain of command. And if breaking that chain of command, or doing something against the Brotherhood, or deserting or something like that, then the Brotherhood will come after them. On the flip side of that, it means the Brotherhood may come and help, or be more likely to help in situations, but it's a two-way street, double-edged sword. So for the Brotherhood outcast, it's interesting that, and fitting, that the trait is the chain that breaks. And this says you believe your superiors in the Brotherhood lack a vision beyond acquiring pre-war technology, and that your strength as a member of this fraternity of military descendants gives you a duty to help others and pursue different goals than the dogma of the Brotherhood leadership dictates. And this is exactly the backstory kind of the character that's going to appear in the show. So it says you gain an additional tag skill. We'll come to that when we get to it, but it must be energy, weapon, science, or repair, which makes sense for the Brotherhood, and you gain an extra d20 of junk. Ooh, that's nice, because that means crafting is maybe something that is going to make sense for this character to do, and I love crafting, so that's good. They can also spend an action point up to 3 times for 1 uncommon material per action point spent. That's nice. Usually you can only get uncommon materials when you get a perk that allows you to have a chance of finding uncommon materials when you search for materials. And this, meaning that you can use just an action point to get an uncommon material, I really, really like that idea. I'm getting more into this idea that I had already. You can also make an additional roll on the loot table without having to spend action points. Excellent. So, what I know from this, we're going to make a little scribble here of the extra benefits that this gets, and then we'll go back to the other book to actually craft the character. So the one is 1d20 worth of junk. Let's get a high number here. That's a 5. That could have been better, but that's okay. For my playthrough of Fallout, this might be interesting to some people who are playing or wanting to play the game. For my playthrough of Fallout, I use the character sheet for the skills and stats and weapons and things, but for the inventory, for the backpack, I actually have another sheet which is a bit, I can't remember where I got it. If I can find it, I'll link it in the show notes. But it's just laid out in a way that allows you to organize and carry your items on paper a little bit better. But for now, I'm just going to put it down on the character sheet. I'm also going to make a note of this trait. It actually doesn't say here as a consequence of the chain that breaks, but I'm going to assume that if we do come across Brotherhood members, they are not going to be particularly friendly to me. The next thing we have to do is work out what our attributes are. This is the special that I mentioned earlier. So each attribute starts with a base of 5, and then you can spend 5 points across all of the attributes to increase or decrease them as you see fit. You can't go lower than 4, I think. It says you can reduce any attribute from 5 to 4, gain a point, and spend to increase another attribute. So let's say, let me see. He's going to be someone who is in energy weapons, being an ex-Brotherhood member, someone who can repair, someone who is probably quite, if not raw brute strength, then like resilience, constitution, although that's not a strat. That's not a stat. We'll look at that. I think he's quite intelligent, but not agile because he's an older guy. And that's going to be one of the main differences from Soskade, okay? Maybe even his perception isn't that good because of his old eyes. I'm not sure. So, let's start. We have 5 points to spend. So let's just start with, let's pick which stat is going to be the thing that they are best at. I think it has to be either repair, energy weapons. So we're looking at intelligence. Maybe intelligence is actually his best stat. So let's just put intelligence at a 7. Just to see. That leaves us 3 other things to do. Let's find what he's weak at. I think I'm going to make that agility, which gives us 1 point back. We have 4 more to spend. I'd like to give 1. I'd probably like to give 2 to perception because that's going to be all our shots. And he's a grizzled, well-experienced, trained military fighter who's been out on his own for a while. So I feel like he's got to be a pretty good shot. So let's put that at a 7 as well for now. Strength, we're just going to leave at 5 for the time being. Charisma at 5 for the time being. Endurance should probably be a little bit better. We'll put it at 6 for now. We'll put luck at 5 and then we'll see what we've got here. So we have +2, 3, 4, 5. -1 is 4. So we could actually spend 1 more point here somewhere if we keep the agility that low. I'm sort of wondering here, I don't know whether to put it into perception for his energy weapon skills, or to intelligence for his repair skills, or into strength, because maybe he is someone that can use melee weapons as well, and that would be quite different to Sosgaed too. So I think I'm going to put it in strength. I may tweak this after we actually play the game with Thomas. Obviously, there's going to be a timeline issue. Thomas's setting is taking place a couple of 100 years after this one, but whatever. I want to make this character anyway. It's a good opportunity to do it. He fits into the setting that Thomas is doing, which is going to be like a caravan, members of a caravan traveling from one place to another. And so it fits that sort of thing. So I think for now, I'm going to go with strength. So a bit higher strength, even higher perception, decent endurance, normal charisma, good intelligence, slightly less than average agility, and average luck. The next thing that you have to do is take those strengths and go down the list of all the actual skills. So athletics, barter, big guns, energy weapons, so on, and put in the appropriate rank. Now what the rank means is what number you have to roll under, or rather, what the rank is what number gets added to your base stat, special stat, in order to give you the target number that you have to roll under. And if you have that tagged, if you do roll under the rank number when it's tagged, then that is considered 2 successes. So it increases your chances of being able to succeed in the things that the character is good at. I mean, same as any RPG, more or less, right? So I have now spent those points. The next thing to do is to tag skills and buy skill ranks. I get to choose 3 tag skills, remembering that I get an additional 1 in repair, energy weapons, or science. And we're going to do that now. And each tag skill starts at 2 ranks, at rank 2 instead of rank 1. The way that works then as well is you get to spend 9 plus your intelligence points to increase your skill ranks. And so each point that you choose, you can increase a rank by 1. So each skill starts at 0. First thing is what we're going to tag. Now we're going to do repair anyway. We're going to do energy weapons anyway. I've never really played around with energy weapons, nor in the video games, nor in this. I don't know why I don't like them as much as a good rifle or something, but for the sake of it being a ex-Brotherhood of Steel member, they traditionally use energy weapons, so I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do science as well. I have never done much with a hacking sort of a character, and I think this guy's going to be good at that. I can now tag one more thing. I think it's got to be survival, doesn't it? I think it has to be survival. Because he's a survivor. I'd like to do maybe some sneak or some speech or maybe some melee, like unarmed or melee weapons or unarmed or something like that. But I think it's going to have to be survival. So now we have tagged energy weapons, repair, science, and survival. Is repair actually that critical? I'm just thinking now that in the store, like in the game, what I mostly want to use repair for probably is to craft things, and I don't have time to do it. It's maybe the skill isn't that important, but I think it makes sense thematically, so we are going to leave that in there for now. Now I get to see how many points I can use to buy additional ranks in these skills. My intelligence is 7, and I roll a 9 plus intelligence. So 9, I didn't roll. 9 points plus intelligence. So I have 16 points that I can put into this, with the tagged ones starting at +1. So let's put energy weapons at 3. So that means I have spent 1 point of my, what did I say? 9 plus 7 is 16. Science, I'm going to put it at 5, just for fun, hey? So that's another 3. Repair, I'll put in at 2, which doesn't cost me a point because it was already tagged. Survival, I'm going to put in at a 4, which is spending another 2 points. What else might we want to deal with here? Ooh, let's put a couple into pilot because maybe we can fly a vertibird. Let's put 3 points into pilot. Don't know how often that's going to come up, but it's fun and it seems like he should be trained in that. So that's another 1, 2, 3. Then we might want to go into... Let's put some into melee weapons. Even though his strength isn't amazing. We'll put some into explosives. I'm going to put 3 into big guns. Not big guns. Ooh, big guns, maybe. Let's put 3 into big guns. Because that's based on endurance, which is also good. Although it's the same as strength. I have used 9. I have 7 left. So let's put 2 in big guns. 1, 2. Let's put in 2 in melee. 3, 4. And let's put in 2 in unarmed. That leaves me with 2 points remaining. Do I want to bump up my energy weapons a little bit further even? Currently the best thing I'm at is science. Let's put 1 more in repair. Okay, I'm going to... I'm going to change this tag. It's just a gut feeling. I might even take it off the science. Have more points in science, but... I'm tempted to take the tag off repair. I think I'm going to take the tag off repair. I think he's good at it, but it doesn't have to be a tag skill. So I'm going to take the tag off. And then put it on to melee. And then I'm going to put those 2 extra points into repair. So that gives us, we have a little bit in big guns. We're tagged and pretty good in energy weapons. We are tagged and okay in melee weapons. I'm feeling like fight for survival, things on top of you at the last minute. Can you use your strength to actually take it out? So I think the tag is cool on that. It gives an opportunity for maybe a crit to come in at that point, or an extra success to maybe get lucky. We're going to have a few points in pilot, which is fun. I have to make a point of making that work in the story. That'll be really fun. Repair is not tagged now, but it's pretty good at 4. For example, repair is intelligence based, so I take my intelligence score, which is 7. I add the 4, which makes it 11, and that's my target number that I have to roll equal or lower to in order to, on 2d20, in order to succeed. So I think that is it for our skills. The next thing to do is to choose your first perk. I love perks, but I'm going to use the new book for this. I know there are a few perks scattered throughout various books. But there are some in this book. So just for the sake of using this book, we're going to take our first perk out of this book. Even when playing the video games as a kid, the perks was one of my favorite things. So, things that are standing out at me. I can see sturdy frame, which is armor you're wearing counts as 3/4 of its weight. Okay, so armor's not as heavy. I'm not that meticulous about tracking encumbrance yet, so that's not that important. Blocker. When you're struck by a melee attack, count your physical damage resistance or energy damage resistance as +1 higher. That's cool. I like that if he's getting hit, he can take a bit more punishment. So that is on the short list. Martial artist doesn't really make sense. Perception perks. Let's see what there is with energy weapons. One-handed weapons, no. I think we're probably not going to have one-handed weapons. Cannibal? No, don't want to do that. Although it is fun, if you become a cannibal, you're not allowed to be a robot, obviously, but you can basically butcher a dead human requiring a test, and then you can restore HP using the food. But it has dark cravings. It can be addictive, cannibalism. After you roll an effect, then you're addicted. When you're addicted, you need more human flesh. That's cool and gross, but not for me. Interesting. There's an ironclad here which says... Oh, that's level 5+. Okay, that doesn't matter. There's one junk shield, which I could take. Oh no, I need more luck for that. But it says for every 5 items of junk you're carrying, add +1 to your physical damage resistance. That's pretty funny. The picture is the little Fallout guy carrying boxes of junk and bullets just bouncing off. Okay, I've seen enough. I think I'm going to go with the early one, which was... What was it? Blocker. So when you're struck by a melee attack, count physical damage resistance or energy damage resistance as +1 higher. Okay, so we can just take a little bit of an extra hit. Good. He's a tough guy. He can take an extra hit or so. Excellent. Next thing to do is to calculate your derived statistics. Carry weight, defense, whatnot. We'll come back to that because I'm still in this other book. And in this book, it's choosing your starting equipment. So, the Brotherhood Outcast. Characters who select the Brotherhood Outcast origin can select one of the following equipment packs. We can get X-Knight or X-Scribe. So X-Knight is more military-minded than some. You took to the Wasteland with as much firepower and protection as you could muster, ready to stand between those who need you. I don't even need to read X-Scribe. That's definitely what it is. Scribe is more the sciencey one. Scribe is you have a penchant for the mechanical over the military. When you left, you did so with the most important possession you could bring, your knowledge. Now we're going to be a fighter. So that means we start with a laser rifle, an 8+. Time to roll dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there a sixth one? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we start with a laser rifle, an 8+. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 plus 6 fusion cells, which is going to be 14. We get a tattered set of Brotherhood fatigues. I'm going to look up later what the actual stats on those are. We get a military canteen filled with water. 2 rolls on the Outcast equipment table. And 10 caps. I'll put in the 10 caps first. Now let's roll on the Outcast. Oh, there's some juicy things on here. First roll is 10. A combat arm. I'll look that up in a sec. It does say I can roll additional time on the loot table for free. It probably doesn't mean the Outcast equipment table, but let's see. So, second roll then. A 12 is a sensor array. Okay, a little bit confusing, but in the book there's only a laser gun in the core rule book, and then it says if it has a stock modification on it, it becomes a laser rifle. Could have been clearer, but that's okay. So let's look at what its base is and what sort of stock we're going to have on it. I guess we can just choose the stock for fun. So its base is 4 dice of damage, piercing 1, fire rate 2, range C, qualities close quarters. I bet that'll change as soon as we do it. Weight 4, cost 69, rarity 2. Okay, let's look at some of the mods and we'll see what makes sense to be the starting mod. I guess it's going to be, let's see, stock mod, standard stock. Let's go with that. Full stock. Okay. So standard stock means it gains 2-handed, removes inaccurate, and removes close quarters. That's fine. That makes perfect sense. Same amount of damage. We can upgrade it to have it better fire rate, to become accurate, but nothing much with more damage. Maybe the ammo can help with more damage. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so that is our laser rifle. Now we need to look up, what was the other one? A combat arm and a sensor array. What are they? I'm guessing it's a melee thing. Science sensor array. Reroll 1d20 on all perception test while armor is powered. I'm starting to get the feeling that this is for power armor, and that's why I haven't found it. Because I've never actually looked at power armor. Here we go. That's what it is. So it's a modification for the power armor. I bet the combat arm is as well. So probably he used to have power armor and it broke down for whatever reason. He managed to salvage, or from someone else, salvage a sensor array, which is when it's equipped on a helmet. You get to reroll a d20 on a perception test. That's pretty cool. And I wonder what the combat arm is. I'm going to call the slightly not great organization of this taking it too long for me to find, and therefore I'm going to let myself choose the first thing I see that looks cool on here, which is a copy of Fixin' Things. It's a magazine. I have never used a magazine in the TTRPG, but that's what I've got. So we'll get rid of the combat arm, unless I figure what it is out later, and we have a copy of Fixin' Things. And that is pretty much character creation. The one more thing we didn't do there was calculate your derived statistics. So we'll do that quickly. Page 74 of the core rulebook. And derived statistics are carry weight is 150 pounds plus strength times 10. So our strength is 6, so 150 plus 60 is 210 carry weight. We also do our damage resistance. Base resistance is 0 for physical, 0 for energy, and 0 for radiation. But so that's determined by your equipment. Okay, so defense is the basic difficulty of any attacks. Now with Soskaid, she's really hard to hit because she's so agile. She has an agility of 9, I think, means that everyone needs to roll 2 dice or get a minimum of 2 successes against her, which makes it harder. So his defense is only 1. Initiative is perception plus agility, which is 7 plus 4 is 11. Oh, he's a bit slow. He's an old guy, as I said. Health points, endurance plus luck, which is going to be 11. And melee damage. Strength is still only 6, so we don't even get the +1. Maybe I'm going to adjust that so we at least get a +1 on melee damage. What else could I change? I could bring my luck down a little bit. Maybe he's not that lucky. I'm going to do that. Also bringing down our hit points by 1 as well. So we're going to have 10 hit points, which is not many. But we do have a little extra damage resistance against melee. So maybe he's not afraid to push into close quarters to get melee combat. We're going to have to buy a close range weapon as well, I think. And strength is then 7, which is very different to Soskaid. And it means that we get +1 melee damage. And that is it for creating the character. Really quite straightforward. A lot less rolling than there is on a lot of traditional RPGs. I quite like rolling up stats, but this is far more akin to the actual video game where you get to really choose how you spend those points to build the character that you want, and then your origin gives you a little bit of a starting point and more of a background. So that was our character. I'm going to name him later, I think. And we'll talk about that when we actually play it. And that's it. He is pretty strong, pretty perceptive, pretty intelligent, not very agile, not very lucky, charismatic. He's going to be quite a different character to Soskaid. I just got to figure out what his armor gives him, and then we'll be good to go. So I didn't say at the beginning, but catch up. I'm not sure when exactly the video is going to go live. I'm going to put this up pretty much straight away, I think, this episode. We're going to record in a few days with Thomas on his channel, Board Games with Thomas, and I think he's going to bring that out next week. But I'm not sure exactly. It'll be out soon anyway. Do join him and I over there on YouTube. It'll be my first ever time playing on one of those online RPG platforms, so I might be hilariously bad at it. But I'm really excited to try playing Fallout. And my first time as a player that is not solo GM'd as well, playing Fallout. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope to see you over there. and I do promise to get mixing on episode 6 of A Wasteland Story and have that out as soon as humanly possible. I'm working on it every day. It's just, this is quite a long episode, and it's just life. Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon. Keep an eye out for the new episode, and I'll catch you next time on A Wasteland Story. I've been PJ. See you soon. Be careful out there in the wasteland.